Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Janville, and today I want to talk with you about healing the inner child wound and reparenting your inner child. To me, I believe it's a dual process. They happen kind of simultaneously. And I want to start today with breath work. I want to breathe in this moment because this conversation is sacred. That's all conversations. When I say sacred, they're serious for me. They're a safe space from my soul to yours. So I want to start with a little breath work. In through our nose and out through our mouth. And also remember, breath is life. Anytime throughout your day you need a little new life, breathe into me the breath of life. This, what I'm about to share with you, was transformative for me. And I'm sharing it with you from a place of knowledge. I've applied it, it works, I understand it. Oftentimes, when we learn new things, I believe I've seen it, people are ready to share and put it out there. Look what I've learned without having applied it first. And for me, anything that I share with you, I've applied it. I've lived it. I've endured it. I've persisted, and most of the things I'm still doing because I believe that this is a lifelong process. And so today I want to talk about healing the inner child. Um, Again, while reparenting. Now, let's just make this basic. We all grew up with parents. We all were children. What I believe and what it's been studies on it, we have not acknowledged that part of our life. We take it throughout. For me, I took it throughout my life. It was a great space to I came from a good family. I went to church every Sunday. I had two parents. I grew up with two older sisters. I have a big family. We travel. And then you get into those, teenage years and then high school. And then for me, I got into like 20s, and all the while I knew I was not complete. Like I had externally things, but I knew within I felt unraveled. I just felt incomplete. And when I went on this journey, this was most recent. It wasn't even my 20s, it was in my 30s, of like, okay, there's more. And I just have to be very frank and honest with you. Where I learned this was through a Buddhist monk, because I had done therapy, I had done BetterHelp, I have done different types of therapy. They did not work for me. Everybody has to find what works for me. My personality type, just sitting talking and paying for that, I can do that by myself because I know the way that I speak, the way that I share. I kind of do that. I do self-talk, I do reflection, but when I speak and I'm paying for something, I want it to be someone of wisdom, knowledge. And I feel like in some of these spaces, some people are just, hey, we need some therapists, and they sign up. And I'm not saying you may have found help there from me, and I'm very honest about that. And I also believe therapy, unless you're just wealthy and you just want to put the money out there, but if therapy has not helped or this is my thing, I've shared with women, I say therapy is a place to feel, but we have to do the healing. And I truly believe that. That's been my experience. Therapy has never helped me to a place of transformation, should I say. But you can talk it out. But the healing, but this, what I'm sharing with you today, it was more like psychotherapy. It's mindset. It went into my mind and made me think differently. And so when you're in coaching sessions, when you're in therapeutic sessions, if it's not making you think differently, I would highly recommend look elsewhere. And oftentimes these are going to cost more because these people are actually trained. And I'm not talking about with a degree. I'm talking about they've experienced it. They've had some stories around the things that they've actually teaching you. And that's one thing I'm very intentional about. I want to bring to you life-changing, transformational information, inspiration, and education. So this, what I want to talk to you about, is very important. And I think, I just want to share with you 3 areas in how to reparent your inner child and to heal those wounds within. Let's start with number 1 is, and I have notes here just because, again, I don't want to miss things, but acknowledge and connect. I think the first thing we need to do, so here we are, let's put our title. We are reparenting inner child. And that's what I want to focus on. When you reparent, you're going to heal those wounds. I promise you, they just help. It's just a healing process. You know, you don't have to start thinking about, oh, these wounds I'm going through. Don't live in a space of trauma dumping. Don't live in a traumatic life. You are a beautiful being. You have experiences, honey, just like me. Don't let nobody turn your past experience into your present pain. Your past experiences is your present gain, honey. It is going to be the seeds for the fertile ground that you stand on every day. So I want to remind you that the things are collective, because this is a collective. All these things as a community that we've been through, it's collective because it's passed down through mindset. But today I want to help you with the mind. It is the altar. It is the most beautiful space in which you can create and cultivate new life. So I want to talk about reparenting inner child. Number one is acknowledge and connect. I'm going to share a lot about my experiences today because this is what I mean. You have to figure out. I found myself when I started doing this, like, oh my goodness, what it made me do is understand people. It made me understand the people in my life that I love, the people that, because what you realize is that we're all just humans and adults, sometimes trapped in little kid mindsets, childhoods, you know, not everybody, but most. So acknowledge and connect. I need you to acknowledge your childhood. Take some time to just think about all the beautiful things about your childhood. That's typically easy for most people. Some people can't do that. Some people are so stuck in some negative experiences. There's something positive about your childhood, and if there's nothing, turn something negative into positive. One of the most transformational books that I've read, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I love his story. It is a great autobiography, a great story about his childhood. And if you read it, it's like, what good? Oh, look at his life. Look at the personal development journey that he's been on. So I didn't. I actually had a good childhood overall as a child, because when you're 5 and 6, you don't wake up thinking, "Oh my God, I'm being controlled." Oh my God, no. If your parents typically are just like giving you things, taking you places, you have food, you have clothes, you have shelter, you're in public school systems. That's typical. So you're not in a bad place, so to speak. So I want you to really think about, acknowledge your childhood. And for me today, we're going to talk from pain. This is going to be a lot of pain. I'm not talking about I'm about to share a bunch of pain with you. I'm talking about you need to acknowledge the pain, because a lot of people are living in fairy tales. They don't want to face the reality of their childhood, and you have to. That's the first thing. If you do not acknowledge, which looks like reflecting, just reflect. Just right here, reflect. This is not for anybody. This is not even for me. This is for you. If you want to reparent and become an adult and actually live a life that's fulfilling, purposeful, and responsible. And to me, responsibility is being able to respond through life, not react. Because if we're continuously reacting, and I've been there, honey, so that's why I can talk about it. React, react, react. That means we have never learned to become an adult. Children react, adults respond. It does not make us emotionless, it makes us emotional, but in a space where we understand our emotions and we know how to channel them through. I am very sensitive, very intuitive. That takes nothing away from what I'm speaking about. This does not make you masculine. This does not make you know. This makes you human, and it makes you understand that adulthood is a intentional space. So reflect on your childhood. What is it about your childhood that you know you need to talk about to yourself? You may need some therapy behind it. And the thing is, a lot of people don't even know they need therapy. A lot of people not even real about their childhood. And so if you're in a bubble still, maybe ask a friend. If you're married, maybe ask your partner. If you need to go to therapy, just go to therapy and say, I'm not sure, but I'm here because I do believe I have some energy. And the way I'll say this, if you don't know if you need to reparent your child, look at your life. I believe our adult report cards would be a reflection of the relationships that we have. I truly believe that. And I'm talking about with our family. Yes, you will. There's plenty of people in my family that I would not be friends with, or just we're just family because God gave us. But they're also great. I have healthy relationships with many people in my family. Healthy, positive friends. I have great friends. And I'm not talking about we talk every day, but over throughout my life, different seasons I've had. If you look at your life and you have nobody likes me, or I don't get along, I don't do women, you have some childhood wounds. I promise you that. Or I don't do men. I speak to the women because my platform here, I really speak to women just because that's my heart space. But whoever you are, whoever's watching this, if you're a man, and that's a whole nother conversation. You know, there's men mentor. I don't want to speak to that because I'm gonna stay in my lane, but this is relevant to anyone. People have I believe just like women have issues with moms, they have issues with dads, men have issues with their mom and they have issues with their dad, and they don't even know it. They don't know it. So look at your life. If you find yourself more sad than happy, if you're angry, if you're expressing fruits that are not, you don't even want to eat them, then you probably have some inner child wounds. If you have a life that's disgruntled, and again, you have to want more. That's all I can really say. So you say, well, this is not for me. Maybe it's not for you. Skip the video. But to those like yourself, like me, I knew like I needed something more. I knew I needed to be honest about my childhood and stop living in this ideal space and face the reality. And there's many reasons why what triggered this, but I'm not speaking about that now. I just want to speak to this. How do we do it? Reflect, acknowledge, and connect. Connect with that inner child. Connect with her. Janvier, I would just write letters to my younger self. I'm proud of you. You know, the things that we went through, because I'm speaking to them as, you know, the things that you went through, the things that we went through, the things that you overcome. You just start connecting with that inner child. Reflect on your childhood and connect with that inner child. Talk to them. So right here with this connecting, talk to them. You can write a letter, communicate. Let's just say communicate, I guess. You can talk, you can write a letter, and you could do this simply like, honestly, you could be in the shower, you could be using the restroom, talk to the inner child. I'm telling you, talk to that young person in your life. Look at your childhood pictures, find memories. Some people don't even want to look at themselves as a child. Look at your childhood pictures. They're a great space to see the mirror of who you are, okay? Acknowledge and connect. So reflect on your childhood, think about it, be honest, connect, talk, and communicate. And the second thing is embrace and accept. For me, I think this was the most challenging. Well, I can't say most, but challenging. All this stuff is challenging. Embracing, like, okay, for me, I had to acknowledge that I was raised in a cult. I had to acknowledge that the type of religious environment that I was raised in was based on fear and not freedom. I had to connect with the little girl and say, Janville, the things that you had to survive, that's not your fault as a child, you know. It's not, you weren't born, you weren't asked to be here. You know, you are worthy, Janville. You are valuable. You are already good enough, because these are all the things that I didn't feel as a child. So connecting with that little girl, that version of me, I would just talk to her. I wrote a letter to my younger self and I read it, you know, maybe once a week during this season of my life. So I would just talk. That's what I did. And then I had to embrace and accept, okay? I had to embrace. And notice I didn't mention my parents, because one part of this journey, and one thing is just, and that's the end, is accountability and responsibility. But before you even start, you do need to, your parents are a major part of this, whether they were present or not. But the goal of reparenting is to be an adult, is to take full responsibility, connect with that inner child, bring them along for the journey, okay? I was on a call and one of the ladies said, yeah, I'm doing the inner child work. And then they got to me, they asked me a question about inner child. I said, well, my inner child's right here with me on this call. I truly believe that. Like, I bring my inner child along for this journey, meaning like, you're no longer, it's okay to come out of hiding. It's okay. Like, I do that. And it's a space that when I say it now, it frees me. It makes me feel complete. It makes me feel like all of me is present. There's things that our child self went through they shouldn't have, and there's things that they experienced that we need now. The joy, the curiosity, the creativity, a lot of things that I experienced as a child was very, I was always on stage. I used to love to do talent shows as a child. Like, my sisters and I would put together these presentations for my parents. Like, we love these type of things, and I bring that now into a safe space. And so connect, okay? Embrace and accept. And embracing is, I had to say, I am who I am. This platform, I am. I am who I am. Everything about you, embrace it. Your energy, I am who I am. Embrace the inner child. And that leads you even to your adult self. Embrace who you are, because who you are is a reflection of your childhood. Yes, it is. We're not a product of our environment. I do believe we're a product of our choices, but we got to get there first. Most of us are a product in our environment until we do this work. And some people may not do this work directly, but just being honest and being a responsible adult. This is what worked for me. It really helped me because, again, a lot of my wounds as an adult came from things I hadn't realized or faced from my childhood. So that may be you. Maybe you're struggling with some things and you don't know where it's really coming from. And being married really helped me do that. Like when I got married at 26, so and I've shared things on my journey there, but there's a lot of things that took place in that season because of my childhood and coming into a marriage thinking that you have it together. You have it together because you were raised with two parents that were married for a long time, raised in the church where you understood the hierarchy of men, all of these things. But then at the same time, I was on a personal development journey and doing the work within. I just evolved into something that I'm very proud of today. I'm proud of who I am. I stand before you. I'm proud of the lady that I am. I'm proud of the woman. I'm proud of the little girl. And so when I say that this is like, for me, it was a building block. There's a lot that was going on in my life during my 20s and my 30s that caused me as a child. I didn't really have to grow up hard, so to speak, but I did have to grow up intentionally because I was forced to do things, but my spirit always rebelled. And not in a rebel way, like I don't like you. I love my family, but this doesn't make sense what we're doing. Daddy, this is controlling. And I would speak like that. And so that little girl, I don't tell her she's a rebel anymore. I tell her you're a rebel with a cause. I say things like, what you needed to survive, you no longer need in this season while you're thriving. I just speak to her like that because when I try to bring her on from a place of you shouldn't have done this, then I'm not reparenting. I'm taking the same parent because that was the parent that parented her. I'm parenting from my space. How would I parent me and how I parent my children? It's from a love space. It's from a safe space. It's from a collaboration space. I am still their parent. I am still responsible for them. But I want to give my children and even my little child, I want to give the inner child in me room to be themselves and understand that they're truly a unique individual. So I am who I am. Embrace that inner child, embrace who you are today and accept it. They go together, but it's true. A lot of people can't accept the truth about their childhood because they still want to live in this image for me or fairy tale. No, it's okay. Because most things we're worried about what people think. And the truth is, nobody's thinking about us the way that we're thinking about us. That's why it's important just to raise that awareness and think about yourself from a very authentic space. And everything will be okay. It makes the world a better place. It truly does because we're all living in a more authentic way. And so we're all walking around not creating chaos or creating issues with each other because we don't have as many issues from within. We're always going to be on this journey of growth. But honey, when we're all walking around just robotic or just chaotic from within, that's where issues break out. That's where fights, and I'm not talking about physical, could be, but just constant division. The goal is unity. Okay. Embrace who I am and accept who I am. This is really what this is about. And what does that look like? Think about it. Knowledge, connect, and then just I am who I am. Everything about who you are, embrace it. Practices around this, I would say you have to cultivate. I would say to me, I'm going to beyond journaling. You can add journaling here with connecting. You can journal. I'm going to go through personal development. I really believe this is what you have to do because these are the things sometimes that child needed, and this is discipline. Now, what I want to say about this discipline is connection, not correction. I'm not even going to write that word. We're not even going to speak to it. Embrace, accept. Now, how do I embrace who I am? How do I accept? This is the personal development piece. This is self-esteem, self-awareness. All this is developed here. It really is. I am who I am. You got to create your identity. I'm telling you. Yes, and bring the child because it's a complete self now. I'm going to tell you, this is what changed my life. Other people may say other things, that journaling and breath work, all of that, that's the connection piece. I believe that, if you think about Jesus went to the mountains and places of serenity. Some people take trips, but you go into the altar, you're going to spaces. I believe that's here. This embracing who you are, accepting who you are. I'm going to achievements, and I believe achievements happen through doing things that are hard, that are challenging. And I'm going to go to fitness. I'm going to go to wellness, eating healthy. I'm going to go to healthy communication. I'm going to go to presenting yourself in a way that you like, embracing your body, choosing clothing that's appropriate. I'm going to go to family dynamics, accepting and embracing, meaning in this place, you're going to personal development, have some hard conversations with your family, not about the things you're learning, because they're not ready for that. This is not about them. This is about you. Before I talked to, I had hard conversations, but before I did, I had to know that I was ready and be in a space of wellness, not completely, healed. Healing is an ongoing journey, but it's not a time to go tell everybody what they did wrong. This is personal development. So create some discipline in your life. I can't tell you exactly how, but for me, just start being an adult. Start saving a little bit of money. Start thinking about your mindset around money. Start thinking about the lifestyle that you want. Start thinking about if you're married, what kind of healthy relationship. If you have children, when do you want children? If you don't have children, if you're not married, those are just byproducts of being a woman. But you were created first a woman before you had any roles and titles. So this is personal development. If you've already established roles and titles in your life, great. But honey, return to the woman that you were created to be and make sure that you're embracing, accepting her while being anything else. Okay? That's what this section looks like to me. And the last thing here is we are going to accountability and responsibility. This is the last thing. We can't blame ability. Ability. No more blaming. We have to be accountable. You have the power to take control over your life. And when I realized this, I felt like, oh my goodness, Jeanville, you're actually strong. Not in a way like I can carry the world on my back, but I can release some things, honey. It feels good to rest. It feels good to be in sanctuary every day. Truly, it does. Like, it feels good to, if I want to. And this is well before, this is stuff that I was practicing before I was in this lane or in this space of YouTube and personal development education. I was a school teacher working 9 to 5, getting off work, going to the gym, having hard conversations with my family. I was doing these things in my 20s. And then in my 30s, just continuing, doing challenging things in the relationships in my life, really trying just to be a better person. I really did want more. I would getting a mentor. If they told me to do something, doing it. But they had to be where I wanted to go. I don't take any advice, and don't you ever take anything from somebody, especially if you're spending your money, that you wouldn't want to trade shoes with them in that space. Nobody's going to have everything in their life that you desire. This is not about a comparison. This is not about I want something from somebody. This is about I'm trying to go somewhere, and who's doing some of the things that I need. There's mentors, there's people with wisdom, there's people that have the knowledge. That's what generations are for. That's what expertise is for. That's what I believe life experiences are for us to share our knowledge in this space of abundance. So be accountable, take accountability for your life, be responsible. There's not a lot to say here. How can we do this? I didn't really put a lot of examples. It kind of goes to number one, being aware. I would say you have to be aware of who you are as an adult. When I take accountability for my actions, from the time I wake up, my feet hit the floor, starting my day off with affirmations, being aware of the things that I'm thinking, saying, and doing. I think if we just really think about life like this, being aware of the things I'm thinking, saying, and doing, this is not a place of perfection, it's a place of progression, okay? So accountability and responsibilities looks like thinking, saying, and doing. Is this in alignment with who I'm trying to be? It's alignment time. 2024 is divine alignment time. I'm telling you, it just really is. And this is not, again, about perfection. This is about you progressing as an individual, me progressing as an individual, so that we can grow, enrich our families and communities. Like, you are the key to unity in your life. Unity starts from within. And I truly believe when we think about this inner child process, being the parent and the adult, and knowing this early as you can, in your 20s, you can do this. If you're 60, you can do this. Most of the time, by the time we're 60, 70, we're on another side, different dreams, different vision. But if you're on this channel or if you're listening to this video, it is never too late to reparent, to become an adult. It's never too late. I know adults in their 50s, 60s that need this process. I do. But again, oftentimes, I don't remember who said the quote, it's easier to build a child than to fix a broken adult. because, and it's probably not the exact words, but it's true. Like once we get set in our ways, but I just don't ever want to be set in any way, because in the era of information, in the era of growth and more access to it, I don't think we have excuses anymore. There's a lot of information out here. Find what works for you. I hope this conversation really helped you. It really helps me, this process every day, bringing my inner child along for this journey, being an adult and understanding that I have the power to create the life that I love, to give love, and to be loved every day. Please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoy this type of content. I'll be here every week sharing more around life, living intentionally full every day. I'll see you next Sunday.